All right, listen, I felt like Pat's question to us was awfully condescending before the mics turned on. We basically saying, what are you guys possibly talking about on Purple Daily in the middle of June, this desolate period of the sports calendar? Well, I'll tell you what, we are manufacturing lists because Judd is ranking his top 25 Vikings of all time, Patrick Reusse, and we've counted down 25 through 16 so far.
Okay.
So I know you don't know the rest of the list.
Yes, it's hard to comment. When you get to 1 through 5, I'll have some strong opinions. But
Okay.
Yeah.
right now, 16 through 25. You want to tell me who you got so I can tell you whether they belong on the list or not?
That sounds like a fun exercise to me, Judd. Do you have the list?
Yes, I do. 25 through 16, Patrick. 25, Studwell. 24, Steve Hutchinson. 23, Matt Burke. 22, Antoine Winfield. Anthony Carter at 21. Gary Zimmerman at 20. Kevin Williams at 19. Matt Blair at 18. Robert Smith at 17. And Jared Allen at 16.
I can't really argue with anybody except Burke. I don't know if he belongs in the top 25 or not. He was an okay center, but they've had better ones, and I'm sure you got a couple other centers on the list. But I would put Kirk Loudermilk ahead of Matt Burke. So
Interesting.
Burke was an okay football player, but I would not have him on my top 25 list. And just because he's a political jackass has nothing to do with that. Okay, I'm not basing this on.
Thanks
politics.
for clearing that up.
I'm not basing this on politics. People might think that I was, but I'm not. I would. They've had, historically, center has been not lately, but center has been a terrific position for the Vikings.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, when you start off with the first one, who played 17 years, that's a good place to start, right? I don't think he missed a game, and Tingelhoff might have missed. He was basically the offensive version of Jim Marshall. So, when you start off with Tingelhoff, that's pretty good. Boy, it took him a long time to get in the Hall of Fame too, just because he got his ass kicked by Curly Culp in the first Super Bowl. They held that against him forever. And Curly and he went in almost at the same time. I think Curly went in real late in his life, and so did Mick. And Mick played long enough to have a lot of he had memory issues fairly, not an old age. In his 60s, I think he started having memory issues, but. He was a great player, and center's been a really good position for him. And Burke, what did he make? 2 Pro Bowls, maybe.
He made a couple Pro Bowls, yeah.
A couple. I mean, he was. You always wonder how he went from a 250-pounder to whatever the hell he turned out to be. But at Creighton, he was a long, lean basketball player, right? And then he ended up. Was it Harvard, right?
Harvard.
Mm-hmm.
Harvard.
Mm-hmm.
6th-round pick out of Harvard.
Yeah, he would be the only one on that list I would argue with. I've always thought Anthony Carter should be higher. I think one reason he's not on the wall of, one of the, whatever we call it, their Wall of Fame or whatever.
It's the Ring of Honor, Pat.
Ring of Honor, or whatever the hell it is.
Yeah, put some stuff
I think he hasn't been involved with the team at all, but you look at his numbers statistically, he's every bit as good as Ahmad. And more explosive.
He's better than Ahmad. More
explosive.
Oh, wow. Well, spoiler alert.
Yeah. Well, Ahmad, was kind of his celebrity helped raise his profile with this team, that's for sure.
Yeah. So, Pat, Anthony.
I had no Viking I ever had more fun with than Ahmad, though, writing in the paper, because I always, writing columns for the St. Paul Dispatch, which nobody saw. I still managed to get his ire going, because I'd always mention how he wouldn't run across the middle to catch a pass.
Would you in the 70s? I wouldn't either in that era.
He'd catch 5 passes, and I'd say all of them on the sideline, of course, or something like that. So.
Jack Tatum roaming around out there in the 70s and early 80s.
Yeah, oh yeah. Isn't it amazing what they let him get when you look at the old films?
God. One of my favorite videos as a kid was an NFL Home Videos called NFL's greatest hits, and it was just like an hour of jacked up from the late '80s, just guys getting murdered on the field.
Watching the old NFL is like watching the tapes of the Broad Street Bullies. This is hockey,
Game would start, just drop the gloves, slash
2
guys.
2 minutes. The guys, okay, he might have to have a leg amputated for these gouges you got in him, but 2-minute penalty. We've worried a little bit more about head and neck in our old age than we did back in the old days. That's for sure.
Yeah. What was Gary Zimmerman like for the kids in the room? Declan had barely heard of him. I saw him play as a 7-year-old.
He got into that when he went out to Denver. He wouldn't talk. The Denver had who was the offensive line coach out there? That his son
Gibbs. Alex Gibbs.
And they, he was a great player, and but he got out there. He and was it Habib went with him to Denver, right?
Yeah, Brian Habib. And
they got out there, and the whole deal was that they didn't talk to the media. The Gibbs deal was they were all in one, and nobody. And I was there for them to winning a playoff game. Did they go to the Super Bowl? Did Zimmerman and that crew go to the Super Bowl? I was there in the locker room, and they broke the rule to rip the Vikings, and the boys for getting rid of him. Zimmerman and Habib both went after him pretty. It was like I was talking to them, the Denver guys are saying, "Why are they talking to you?" I said, "Because they want to rip the Vikings. That's why." Not because they love me or anything.
So this was the 1997 Super Bowl. So he had been sitting on that for 5 years because he was with Denver for 5 years. He's 5 years of pent up.
Yeah, he was ready to rip Denny.
He and Green hated each other.
Well, yeah, Denny moved him out right away, right? Didn't he?
Yes, I think it was contractual at first, but became personal.
Yeah,
very quickly.
Yeah, and Habib was who was a decent player, but he was the same too. They both hated Denny because Denny decided when he was the new sheriff that there were certain guys that I think he saw some of these guys as team leaders of a variety that he did not want. He wanted to be the 100% boss. And Zimmerman was one of the first guys he ran out, which was very odd because he didn't seem like a controversial character at all. But you never know. So
yeah,
Dolman too eventually, right, Pat?
Huh?
He ran Chris Dolman as well,
yeah.
Who was a hell of a player.
Oh yeah, a lot of us joined in the Dolman bashing because he'd have some great seasons and then he'd kind of disappear. And but he came back. He was the nicest guy that ever lived. He was talking, and he was over the hill by then. But terrific numbers, that's for sure. Back when sacks were the whole deal, that's for sure. I'm sure he's on the top 15 somewhere, Dolman. Well,
can't discuss it.
Anxious.
Don't spoil it.
If you've done 10, the next, I suppose you're going to do 3 hunks of 5 then.
Look at this guy. See,
Pat
knows.
You figured out the listicles.
Yeah, because now we're getting into controversy time. Now we're arguing about not being on the list, but where they're placed on the list, right? Because if you're top 15, you're on the list.
Right? Pat, we're actually thinking about, just because there's a month until training camp, and so there's a lot of space. We're doing one a day, I think, just 30 minutes each on
just one portion of a name. Larry tomorrow, the last name.
You won't know.
I just got hooked up with I think it was Sporting News, that wherever they are now, they're doing guess what for various sports markets. 4 people. Guess what we're calling it? Mount Rushmore. They're
love
doing
it.
Good old Mount Rushmore for each town, and they chose Tarkington, Killebrew, Tarkington, Killebrew, Garnett. They didn't have a hockey player, and who was the fourth? Was it Rodney?
Puckett?
Rodney or Puck? Yeah, Puck was the fourth one.
No hockey player from the state of hockey? Come on.
No hockey. I had to.
Who would it be?
Yeah, would it be?
Yeah, they don't. They've never had a great until the Reusse came along. They never really had that. You know, the North Stars had Goldie and some of those guys, but yeah, they wouldn't be. But I had a little debate with them about Tarkington. Tarkington has more sex appeal than Page, but yeah, my list heads off. Tip off my list. Alan Page, number one, a defensive player who was the MVP of the league.
This is for your Mount Rushmore or for Judd's list?
For the top 25 Vikings
For my
of all
list.
time.
Okay.
So we'll see what's what when we get there.
I'll say Judd with the ultimate cop-out, by the way, because I think the masses want to know, would Kirk Cousins make the top 25 Vikings of all time? And Judd's cop-out is, I'm not putting current active players on the list.
He would not make it anyway.
So you're gonna snub Harrison Smith to a.
75, for God's sakes. He wouldn't be on the
Oh no, we got to
100.
rank him. We got to rank the 75 to see where he'd
He
fall.
would not be on the top 100. Why would you have him on the top 100? He's a losing quarterback.
Well, he's a 500 quarterback technically. So yeah.
See, this is the beauty. This is what makes this great.
If he loses against the Packers in Week 1, then he is now back to being a losing quarterback. So we'll see.
I'm heading out to see Guardians fever tonight, baby.
All right.
I've always said the Guardians are plucky, man. The Guardians they just figure out how to do it. Now I saw that Savali was pitching in the minors last week, and I thought he got demoted, but he was doing a rehab down there, so he's pitching. And then they have that McKenzie and who's their
Tristan
third one?
McKenzie.
They still have starting pitching. Man.
Plesac? Is Plesac pitching?
Yeah, Zach
Plesac's still
Plezak
there.
is
Okay.
pitching game
Third
3.
starter. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
pretty
That's
good.
not bad.
I don't know
Not
how
bad.
they're doing it. They just beat the Dodgers 2 out of 3. They've what is it? They were we had our thing today. They were 7.5 behind the Twins on May 30th, and now they're 1 behind them. Twins have been 8 and 9 in June, and they've won 16 and 4 or something. They got a lot of games to play though.
Oh, God, yeah.
As Judd and I were talking yesterday, those games in hand that you like to have in hockey, you don't like to have those in baseball because that means
No.
a lot of doubleheaders. So,
Yeah, that's true.
and they're going to be facing that. But today, first day of 13 pitchers. God bless America. Now, yesterday,
First day of summer and
Yesterday was
baseball's back as far as Pat's concerned.
yesterday was the first day that if you played yesterday, but today for the Twins, first day.
What's Rocco
And I
going to do,
looked-
Pat?
Here's the good news. I looked at the transactions today. 11 or 12 moves where they were adding a position player and getting rid of a pitcher. That the teams had to do. 11 or 12 teams had to play baseball the way God intended it and have an actual bench. You know, even 4 isn't enough on the bench, but you got to have 4 on bench. Rocco's in full pout though. He was very tied into the 14 pitchers.
Yeah, I think 13 is plenty. Okay,
Yes, it is.
I don't mean to be an old I'm not an old crusty guy, but it's plenty.
Here's the deal. Griffin Jacks. Let's take him. You can pitch 2 innings on Tuesday, and pitch 2 more innings on Thursday. It was done for. I mean, you can pitch. A guy can pitch 2 innings every other day if he's, he can do it 3 times a week. A guy can pitch 2 innings. That's what they're going to have to start doing. This idea that if he pitches 2 innings on Tuesday, you can't pitch him till Friday is horse crap. And that's what they got to start doing. They got to start letting relief pitchers pitch 2 innings. They also have to start letting starting pitchers pitch 6. I mean, as I said yesterday to Judd, I almost had a heart attack when he let Dylan Bundy come out for the 8th inning. I said on Twitter, somebody checked Rocco for desert fever. The guy pitching. By the way, speaking of desert fever, doesn't Dylan Bundy look like he's overheated at all times?
Yes, he's very sweaty guy.
Looks
Yeah,
like
he's
he just walked out of the sauna.
Yeah,
34 degrees. And he just always looks like he's exhausted. So,
yeah, he looks overexerted all the time. Yes, coming out of the
they have
bullpen
good
before the
news,
game.
Though, in this series, Jose Ramirez has got the bad thumb, and they gave him an MRI. I don't know what the results were, but he didn't play. He missed his first 2 games of the season, Saturday and Sunday, and
Yes.
he might be more vital to that team than any player is with any team in baseball as a hitter.
Yeah.
He's been incredible.
Oh God, yeah. He leads the world in RBIs, doesn't he? Even when they're on Judge hitting incredible home runs.
Pat, did you see the latest breaking golf news this morning?
What?
Brooks Koepka to the Live Tour, and another top 10 world golf ranking player yet to be named. And there's speculation that it's Colin Morikawa because he removed PGA references from his social media profile.
Really? Morikawa? Wow.
It's not official yet, but there's another top 10 player headed. Yeah.
That was really surprised me if it was Morikawa.
Koepka fits right in, right, with the sort of
the. It's a big problem, but it's. I'm not surprised at Koepka. Are you? He just kind of looks like that
not really
guy. But I don't think long term. I don't know if they can win. Do you? I don't think, as I said yesterday, they do not go in the world golf rankings because they're playing 50 for no other reason. A, it's the same field, and B, you're only playing 54 holes. Men's golf is a 72-hole contest. You cannot take a 54-hole tournament and give it points like you give a 72-hole tournament. So.
Yeah. By the way, Morikawa has literally just chimed in on the speculation, saying this just came across to state for the record once again, you are all absolutely wrong. I've said it since February. I'm here to stay on the PGA Tour. Nothing has changed. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got some cereal to pour in my milk. Okay. Okay. Now it's funny because Brooks Koepka was asked. I don't know if it was at the U.S. Open, but it was sometime in the last couple weeks. And he was definitely chirpy at reporters. But somebody asked him about the Live Tour. He said, "Well, I'm on the PGA Tour because there's no other option for me," which is basically saying, how about another $100 million, Saudis, right?
And it's the guys that are really great, but are kind of not as dominant as they were a couple of years ago. Koepka's like getting down here now, right? He's not the man like he was 2-3 years ago. Dustin just doesn't like golf that well, so he'd rather play 54 holes and less often than 72. So it'll be interesting. I wonder who the other in the top 10 though is. Probably another Euro.
Let me look up. Let's see. Let's take a guess here.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Who's in the top 10?
Official world golf. Official
reckless speculation
world
for
golf rankings here.
All
these guys so far have been pretty predictable. It's the guys that they're malcontents or whatnot.
Sergio not being as good as he was. And blah, blah, blah.
Okay, current rankings here. Official world golf ranking. Let's start with Scotty Scheffler. Do we think Scotty Scheffler?
Scotty's having fun.
I think he's fine. Yeah. Rory, no.
No, Rory can't go back on. Nobody's been a bigger ripper of it than Rory.
And I would say Justin Thomas is probably not going to go back on his ripping. Colin Morikawa is confirmed to be staying on the PGA Tour. John Rahm also came out and said, I play on the same courses as Tiger and all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Patrick Cantlay.
Don't know him well enough, do you? I don't know.
Well, he just took down $15 million last year winning the FedEx Cup. So
he had a great year last year. But, I don't know.
Victor Hovland.
That could be. Yeah. Well, he's young, man. He's young. But okay, give me another one.
Declan's guy, Cameron Smith.
No, he ain't doing it.
No, Cam ain't going anywhere.
Okay. The other two guys here are Matt Fitzpatrick, who just won the U.S. Open. I don't think he immediately jumps to the Live Tour after winning the U.S. Open. And then Sam Burns is also here.
Sam Burns is I don't know enough about him. I'm betting Victor.
Victor
Haldon.
Victor would be my bet from the top 10. The Euros want that money, man.
They're not as attached to the PGA Tour.
No. But what's the Euro? What is the Euro Tour doing with them? Can you play
I think so far I don't think they've suspended anyone.
They just because they can't really afford to with the fields they have. Because everybody's been over here playing for more money than they play over there. But it's really going to hurt Hollis's tournament. And how those tournaments, the weekly tournaments, are really, there's 48 guys playing in that tournament, and he would have had 20 of them, playing up here and, trying to make some money and make the FedEx Cup and all that. All of a sudden, the FedEx Cup, if your whole deal is to win the big prize at the FedEx Cup, if you don't win the FedEx Cup, you win as much for each week as you do playing second. But do you think it's going to get publicized? Do you think we care about the same guys playing every week against each other without the outsiders? Do you think we're going to care?
I don't think, no.
It's a good question. I don't know. It's so weird because it's the same guys are just going to be playing in all the tournaments.
So now they got their 48 that committed. So when they get 2 more new ones, do they throw the guys out in the back?
Well, that's a good question because there's some crappy guys at the bottom. I mean, there's literally guys who shot plus 30 or something.
You never know what they'll do to them.
Hey, Billy Grimes, take a hike, go back to the Euro Tour.
Why don't we go out back and talk about your
right.
future on the Live Tour? Okay, sounds good.
But these guys are getting a guy like Justin was supposedly got how many million? 100 million to get to sign. They're giving, in addition to the weekly prize money, what they're doing is giving them a big hunk of money to start off. But there's a column there we're waiting to be written about, and I said this to Judd yesterday. Nobody in the world is more supportive of a 4-hole golf tournament than Greg Norman. He's got more reasons. He's got more reasons to like 54-hole golf tournaments than anybody. I was a witness to 2 of them. I was a witness to the Masters, and I was a witness when he did it at the course right outside of New York, the great course. Wow. Westchester, the course that's in Westchester. He blew that one on. He hit it in the bleachers on Sunday and blew that one, and then Fuzzy ended up winning in a playoff. That's when Fuzzy waved the towel in submission because he thought Norman had beaten him, and then Norman hit it 800 feet right over in the bleachers and got beaten.
Amazing.
Boy, talk about a guy ruining his image, though. Norman, but his image was pretty well ruined anyway.
And and Phil too.
Yeah, Phil is sad. It's
I know.
It's a sad meltdown. He was always a fraud, right? He was not well liked by the other players. He was always up to something. But the public loved him, and he was still getting cheers when he made a par at last week. The public is, but he's lost a lot of them, man.
He does that little sheepish, thumbs up every time.
Yeah. He does the don't look at it, but they give you the thumbs up.
He knows he's a bad guy now, though. Like he just knows. You can tell.
Well, that's why
he's trying, but it doesn't work anymore.
He didn't want to answer questions, and he didn't. I don't know. I always said those cute little kids of his never got any older either. He was renting ones or something.
They're still
like
6 years
Gerson,
old.
Pat. Give me a couple kids to bring on stage to show that I'm the anti-Tibbs and we are a family. And by the way, what's your name?
Yeah, the family. That was great. The Gerson.
By the way,
run up there and sit on your dad's lap, and we'll tell him what a wonderful family man he is.
Amazing. Yeah. All right, Pat. Well, speaking of great family men, we got to
draft. I got no interest. The players at the top. Who cares? Bunch of nobodies. Nobody.
Got Chet Holmgren.
Oh, maybe the Wolves can trade the 19 and Malik Beasley for Clint Capella and make it a fun night on Thursday.
Yeah, I'd take Capella. They need a rebounder. Now he's not what he used to be, but I'd take him. Yeah. But anyway. I don't know. These guys at the top. Chet and Will Zalatoris should get together and go to a weight gaining seminar or something. I should consult with those guys on how to put weight.
That's a great idea.
That's right. You guys are embarrassment to athletes. Get some muscles, you two skinny son of a gun.
Amazing.
All right.
We'll talk to you on Thursday, Pat. All right.
All right, Pat.
All right, that's Rapping with Reusse here, presented by our friends at Federated Mutual Insurance Company, all about helping businesses maximize their level of success through risk management tools and resources. You can find a full list of industries Federated protects at federatedinsurance.com. See you guys.